Hi folks, welcome to Real Cooking with the Fatman. My name is Darrel Goodman and I'm going to take you down south of the border today. I'm going to make some quesadillas and guacamole. We're going to have some refried beans and we're going to serve that with some chicken enchiladas as well as some chorizo enchiladas. So stick around for a few minutes. We'll get to some real cooking in the kitchen when we come back. Alright folks, we're here now in the kitchen. We're going to start working on that guacamole. And of course, you know that's made out of avocados, or maybe you don't, but now you do. So what we're going to do, I've got some avocados I've already scooped out in here. I'm going to show you a really simple way to deal with avocados. I've watched people for years stand there with a knife and try and peel these things, and it's just a nightmare to try and do. So what I'm going to do is I'm cutting that all the way around. I'm breaking it off just like that, and I'm going to take a spoon, just a regular kitchen spoon, and scoop all of that out of the inside. Now if there are any strings or fibers in there that sometimes there are in avocados, I simply remove those before I go on with the cooking process. And I'm going to take my knife tip and loosen that pit carefully. And I'm going to scoop out the sides of this one as well. Now I've started with 4 avocados here. Depending on how much you like it or how much you want to make, you can adjust it from that. And depending on the size of the avocados. I have gotten avocados in the last year from California that the pits were this big. So you don't come across those very often. Now we've got our avocado in our bowl here. It's a non-reactive bowl. I'm going to add some lemon juice to that. That's going to help keep that from turning. The other thing that's going to keep that from turning brown is you keep the pit in the avocado mix, the guacamole, as you make it up. And I'm going to take a handheld masher here and we'll start mashing. Now my wife likes her guacamole mashed up almost entirely. I like big chunks in mine, so we're going to kind of compromise today and go halfway in the middle. So mashing that as we go. And we've got a pretty good start of a mash there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add about equal portions of sour cream and salad dressing. And there. And I've got about a half a cup to 3/4 cup dehydrated onions. I'm going to sprinkle some of those in as well, just give it a little texture. Maybe about 2 tablespoons. Here I have some Mexican oregano and some parsley I'm going to add in for some color and flavor. And I'm adding about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And let's go about 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of minced onions. Now in the summertime when they're available in my garden, I love to use green onions in this because of the texture and the change in between the texture of the mashed guava, the mashed avocado. You never see that on a blooper tape. And the consistency of the tomato chunks as well as the green onions. So we're going to take and mix this together with our masher. Clean that out of our knife a little bit and get some of our other ingredients that are going to go in here. We're going to add some diced tomatoes to this and some salsa. There we go. I'm going to set that right there. And I'll add those diced tomatoes in. About 3 tablespoons of salsa in there. Now, I don't know how you like your guacamole, but I might like mine with a little bit of heat, and just a little, because the kids have to eat too. But I want to add to it just a dash of hot sauce. Any kind you like is fine. There's about 4 drops, and of this, that's probably enough. Put that back in the refrigerator. And mix that around. going to add just a little cumin to that. There we go. And I'll mix that up. I'll cover this with plastic and refrigerate it, and it'll be nice and cold, and what flavors will all be well blended when we get ready to put together that appetizer later in the program. Got it. Okay, what I'm doing now is we're putting together the filling for our chicken enchiladas. I don't know that they're really enchiladas. I don't care. One of our friends has made these, and she gave us the recipe years ago, and you use canned chicken. It comes like tuna fish in a can, but it's just canned white meat chicken. And I've got 3 of these cans already in this bowl. I've added a half teaspoon of Mexican oregano and a half teaspoon of garlic powder. And to that, I'm going to add a can of Old El Paso chopped green chilies. You can use any generic green chili you want. This just happens to be what I've got on hand, what I'm using. So I'm going to add those chopped chilies to that chicken. Now the chicken comes like the tuna fish does in a can, all in chunks, like they come right out of that fillet. So what I've done is I've taken a fork and I've shredded that up a little, and I'm mixing it now with our green chilies. And I'm going to add just a dash of cumin. There we go. A little fresh cracked black pepper. And a little salt. I'm not going to do that mine don't come seasoned thing. You know where I'm going. To that, I'm going to add some minced black olives, and this is about a can of black olives, and then a few of the big round slices of black olives as well. I'll save a few of those back for a garnish. Here I'm going to add about a half cup of minced dehydrated onion, and these will rehydrate as the product cooks, and it'll just make a nice blend here. Now, the final thing in our scheme here is I'm going to add a 16-ounce container of sour cream. And I'm just going to fold that out with my spatula and get all that goodness out of that container because we like sour cream. Like I said, I'm mixing that sour cream in. That's what's going to give us this creamy flavor and texture once it cooks up and the onions rehydrate. This is going to be delicious. Now I've almost got that all the way mixed, so now I'm going to take about 1.5 cups of shredded cheese and add that. You can use any flavored cheese you like. This is a mix of Assaggio, Longhorn, and cheddar, and some Monterey Jack. So I'm going to mix those 4 cheeses in there. And you can see that that's starting to get a little character now and get tight as we go. Make sure I mix that up well enough that all of this the sour cream gets incorporated into the mix and there are no pockets of just sour cream in there. We wouldn't want that. Alright, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at starting our chorizo enchiladas. And we'll start that, then we'll fill up the chicken enchiladas and finish out the chorizo enchiladas from there. So we'll be back in a couple seconds. You'll not even know it's gone. Okay, we're getting ready to start these chorizo enchiladas now. And chorizo is a Mexican-style sausage, Mexican-style sausage. And we're using a mild version today. It comes in a hot version, but it's pretty warm. The hot's pretty warm, and my daughter and my wife are not real fond of that. And since they've got to eat this when we're done, we're going to go with a mild. But it comes in the Mexican section of your restaurant, of your grocery store, excuse me. So when you walk down the aisle, you should see it refrigerated because it is not cooked. So you have to remember, and it is sealed in casings like this. So you have to remember that when you go to prepare this product, it's not cooked, and it needs to be cooked thoroughly over 165 degrees, and it'll make a nice red sausage for our other enchiladas. I'm going to take that like that, peel that casing off, and there it goes. And I'll do the same thing with this one. Now you can buy a pack of hot and a pack of mild and use one of each if you want and save some for later. That's always good. Generally I do mix the two together, but the hot is just too much for some of the weaker palates in the family, if you know what I mean. So we're going to set that on a medium-low heat at about 4 and let that start to cook and render down. And I've got that in a Dutch oven because it does produce quite a bit of rendering. It does produce quite a bit of grease as you cook. I didn't want to use that word, but I couldn't think of one that would genuinely reflect what the actual situation was. You see that sausage? I'm just taking it there and I'm breaking it up into pieces. And I'll continue breaking that up as it cooks. And just a second here, we'll get this back on that medium-low heat and let it start to cook down while we stuff our chicken enchiladas. Go. I'm also going to add just a little bit of olive oil in that to speed this on its way and keep it from sticking as much. Maybe about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. All right. Oh, don't worry, I've got plenty of olive oil. Sorry. I can't believe the looks I'm getting from across the room right now. All right. Hey there. What we're doing right now is I've taken a clean kitchen towel, dampened it, and I put 4 or 5 of my flour tortilla shells in it, microwave them for 30 seconds on high, just to get them limber and soft. Next thing I'm going to do is bring this over here. I'm going to stir this chorizo, and if I can, I'll show you what this starts to look like as it cooks down. If you can see that or not, you can see that oil rendering out. That's all pork fat. That's all good. I know I didn't make that quote up, but you know what I'm saying. So now I'm going to take my filling, our chicken enchiladas that we put together, and I hope you can see that where I put that in a layer on the little enchilada shell. Roll it over, tuck one corner, roll it some more, and stick it seam down in the pan. And I'm going to come back for another one. And again, roll it over, fold the corner, and roll it up, and seam side down. And it just works like that all the way through the process. So I'm going to roll these together and get these ready to have in our baking dishes and ready for the oven while we allow this to cook down, and we will be right back on it. Okay, well, I've added about 1/3 cup of minced onion to our chorizo. It's cooked down now, and most of the grease has cooked off or been removed. So it's almost to the point now, and it's at the right temperature where we can go ahead and look at filling some of those shells for our enchiladas. I've taken some El Pato, or some enchilada sauce, some red chili sauce, that I got at our local Mexican grocery store here in town. I'm sure there's one near you. And I've added some of that into this baking dish as a base for the rolled out tortillas. I'm going to put this, or rolled out enchiladas. Let me set that aside. And once again, I've pre-softened my tortilla shells in the microwave. What did we ever do without those, you know? I've got kids that glow in the dark now because we always nuke their bottles. So it's a wonderful thing. And I'm going to reduce that heat to nothing, and start filling these enchiladas. And again, I'm going to roll it over, tuck in a corner, roll it up, and then put it seam side down in that baking pan. And I'm going to continue that process until I get all these enchiladas ready to bake. Once we get these enchiladas ready to bake, we'll get them in the oven, and then we'll work on our refried beans, and we'll be ready to put this meal together in a little while. Again, I'm only steaming with the damp towel 4 to 5 shells at a time, just what I can work with while they'll still stay hot and warm and allow me to work them and not crack. enchiladas put together here, just for the sake of clarity and so I don't get real confused. The chicken ones are in the blue dish, and the regular enchiladas with the chorizo are in the clear dish. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the remainder of that salsa para enchiladas, that chili sauce, and I'm going to put it over the top of those lovely chorizo enchiladas. Making sure everybody gets covered. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's going to hurt. Alright. Then I'm going to sprinkle a few onions over top of that, the minced onions. And a few olives. Then, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover both of these dishes with cheese and put them into our preheated oven. Chicken enchiladas are just getting the big cheese cover. And again, this is a 4-cheese mix, a Mexican blend of cheddar, Monterey Jack, Sancho, and queso cheeses. I was wrong earlier when I said cheddar and Colby. I was wrong. That's going to happen way more often than I'll be right, I guarantee. So cover those all nicely with cheese, a nice layer of cheese on top. And I cover some cheese on our regular enchiladas. I've preheated our oven to 325 degrees. You can go a little higher than that if you want. I prefer to go to this 325 because it gives it time to blend the flavors as well as get the heat evenly distributed. I'll put those in the oven, and we'll set a timer for about 35 minutes, and we'll come back to some delicious enchiladas. Be with you in just a second. Don't go anywhere. Okay, folks, we're getting on in the process now. Our enchiladas are in the oven baking. The guacamole is in the refrigerator, chilling and getting flavorful. I've got in here some about 2 tablespoons of garlic, a little Mexican oregano, a little parsley for color, and some minced onions, and some olive oil and bacon fat. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of bacon fat. That's on about medium heat. What we're doing here is we're getting ready to start our refried beans. So I'm going to let that go for a second. Start to color those onions a little bit. Now, as that colors the onions, I'll let you know that what we're going to do is I've got here roughly 2 cans of black beans that I bought at a local grocery store. You can get them anywhere, the store brand or Old El Paso, or one of those brands are fine too. But I'm just taking regular black beans here. And then the secret ingredient is that's about half a red habanero pepper. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So I've got a little heat going on my onions now. They're starting to make noise and get a little tender. And I'm going to add to that red habanero pepper. That's going to add a lot of flavor and a considerable amount of heat to these beans. These are not beans for the faint of heart. So get your Tums ready if you're going to eat these. Here I'm getting quite a bit of sizzle out of that now. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to turn this skillet on over here at about 4.5 or 5, and we're going to do our quesadillas here in just a minute. Let that get nice and hot. And that's just simply, that's a cast iron skillet, and that's got some no-stick coating in it, just a little levitation effect to keep the stuff from burning when it hits it. I don't know what levitation effect has to do with that, but that's okay. Alright, getting some color in our onions now. I'm going to add our beans to that mixture. And let that come back up to temperature. And stir it around and mix it up real good. And I'm going to add a little cracked black pepper. And just a little bit of salt. And the ever popular, God knows we love it, ground cumin seed. And I'm going to let that come up to a temperature where it's almost at a boil here in a second. So we'll let that go for a minute, and we're going to go to our quesadillas. This is going to be the appetizer phase of our meal. And we're going to do it just like this. You take the big skillet, and for our mix that goes inside, I have more canned chicken, which I've shredded with a fork. Pardon me. We've added a little salt and pepper, a little garlic salt, some cumin, and some cayenne pepper to that for a little more heat. I have some jalapenos, and I have a few onions. I'm going to get some salsa out, and we are ready to put together an incredible quesadilla appetizer. Stir those beans as I wait. Alright, what we're going to do now is I've got this skillet on the stove coming up to heat. I know you guys just love to listen to dead air while I don't say anything. Sometimes that's a good thing. Put that on there. That's coming up to temperature. And to that, on one side, I'm going to add a little of our chicken. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, good chicken, good chicken. And we're going to add just a few, I like fingers, fingers are good. These jalapeno slices, pickled jalapeno peppers. And I'm going to add a few onions to that. Ooh, that's getting warm. You hear it sizzling now. And this is the beautiful part of this thing. You take a little bit of cheese. Cheese on there. And I'm going to take a spoonful of salsa, scatter a little here and there, because it'll all blend together to a delicious little appetizer. Let that heat build for a second. Stir those beans. Boy, the smell in here is getting incredible, folks. I can tell you, if you had smell-o-vision, you'd be on it. Now I take that tortilla shell in that hot oven, or that hot skillet, and I fold it over and let that sit on the hot part of the pan. And you're going to love the way this turns out. This is just makes beautiful quesadillas. And now I've got that one in there going, I'm going to start a second one. Uh-oh. Do you hear that timer? That means enchiladas are ready to rock in the oven. So I'm going to back that heat down just a little to hold. And I'm going to start another quesadilla here. We said you can do these for appetizers, you can do them for brunch, you can do these just to have for dinner if you want. But they really work well. Pardon me. You put them on a plate and set them up with a little of that guacamole we made earlier. Oh, wait till you see this, folks. Got a few onions. And that sauce. Now, if I get out of order, if I did one thing one way the first time, one way the next time, it doesn't really matter because nobody's keeping score, and we're not getting points for this, and there's no bonus involved. Add a little cheese. All right. And now the same as before, since that's up hanging in the air like that for us, we'll go ahead and do it like that. We'll take this other one, I flip it over like that, and I don't know if you can see, but it's got a really nice brown color and caramelization to that tortilla shell. Let those go. Those cook down. Now our beans are just about to get to the point of boil. So they're not quite there yet, but they're getting there closely. I'm going to pull out my handy dandy motorboat. If you don't have one of these are great tools because you can do food processing right in the pan with them. I use this for a lot of things around the house. Well, in the kitchen, actually. I don't know in other bedroom or any other parts of the house with it, but you know what I mean. I'm going to take that little motorboat. I'm going to make a point of finding those red habaneros that are in there. Oh yeah, red habanero sauce. It's habanero soup, baby. All right. Set this aside, and we'll come back and take care of these quesadillas. Oh yeah, that's talking to me now, baby. Yeah. All right. We just got this meal ready to put together. I'm gonna stir those beans, let them come up to temp for a little bit, reduce a little, get a little thicker, and then we're ready for dinner, man. Be right back with a plate. Oh man, here we are. I've got your beautiful chicken enchiladas, the chorizo enchiladas, the refried beans, garnished with a little jalapeno and onion. Our nice little salad here in the center. Oh, over here I've got our chicken quesadillas with the jalapeno peppers in them. Little guacamole, it's in there, and it's in there. We're getting ready to eat. I'm getting ready to eat. I'm going to exercise the only word I know in Spanish. Cerveza. I'm going to have one. I'm going to eat this meal. Till next week, I want to thank all my friends at Melton's Orchard, Blooming Foods East. Until next week, this is real good cooking with the Fatman.